Admiral John Carter stared out the viewport at the shimmering blue-green planet below. Earth looked so peaceful from orbit, but he knew the turmoil that churned beneath those swirling clouds. Today would change the course of human history forever. "Admiral, we're ready to depart for the council chambers," said Lieutenant Olivia Reed, her voice steady despite the tension that filled the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Starbound. Carter nodded, his weathered face revealing nothing of the storm inside him. "Very well, Lieutenant. Alert Ambassador Miller that we'll be leaving in 10 minutes. As Reed left to carry out his orders, Carter thought about the journey that had brought humanity to this critical moment. For 78 years, Earth had been part of the Galactic Council, a collective of 23 spacefaring civilizations that governed affairs across this arm of the Milky Way. At first, humans had been ecstatic to join the interstellar community, eager to learn and contribute. That enthusiasm hadn't lasted long. From the beginning, the older species treated humans as children who needed guidance and restrictions for their own good. Earth's territory was limited. Their technological development was controlled. Their military capabilities were capped far below what other member species were allowed, and humans were tired of it. The door to the bridge slid open, and Ambassador Susan Miller entered. Her gray suit was perfectly pressed, her silver hair pulled back in a tight bun. Only the slight tremble in her hands betrayed her nervousness. "Is it still the right choice, John?" she asked quietly when the other crew members were out of earshot. Carter had known Miller for 20 years. They had both witnessed the Council's condescension turn into outright manipulation, as humans proved more adaptable and innovative than expected. "You've seen the reports from Dr. Howard," he replied. "The Valerians have been sabotaging our quantum computing research for decades. The Zolaxians blocked our colonization rights to the Tau Ceti system while claiming it for themselves last month, and now we have proof the Council has been taxing us at triple the rate of other members." Miller nodded slowly. "I know. I just worry about what comes after. We've prepared as much as we can. General Nichols has the fleet on high alert. The new defense grid is operational, and our allies." Carter paused, looking around to ensure no one was listening. "Our allies within the Council have promised to support us, at least quietly." The ship's engines rumbled to life. The time for second thoughts was over. The Galactic Council chambers were an architectural marvel, a massive spherical structure that floated in space at the exact gravitational center point between the founding species home systems. The interior was a vast amphitheater with curved rows rising in concentric circles. Each delegation had a designated section, with the oldest and most powerful species closest to the speaking floor. Earth's section was in the uppermost tier, a not-so-subtle reminder of their junior status. As Carter and Miller took their seats, murmurs rippled through the chamber. Several delegates from other species glanced their way with expressions ranging from curiosity to outright hostility. News of their arrival had spread quickly. "They know something's coming," Miller whispered. "Let them wonder," Carter replied. The council leader, a tall, spindly Valerian named Cathel, called the session to order. His translucent skin pulsed with blue light as he spoke, a sign of his species' emotional state, in this case, smug confidence. "We gathered today to discuss the proposal from the Zolaxian Empire regarding the redistribution of colonization rights in sectors 17 through 24, Cathel announced. The Zolaxians have submitted evidence of their historical claims to these regions, which include the human-designated Tau Ceti system. Miller stood before Cathel could continue. "Point of order, Council Leader." Cathel's skin flashed purple with annoyance. "The Earth delegation has not been recognized to speak." "And yet I will speak," Miller replied, her voice carrying through the chamber thanks to the acoustic enhancers. She began walking down from Earth's section, moving toward the speaking floor, an area Earth representatives were rarely permitted to use. Guards moved to intercept her, but Carter gave a subtle hand signal. Instantly, 4 human security officers appeared, positioning themselves between Miller and the council guards. A shocked hush fell over the assembly. "The Earth delegation wishes to address the full council on a matter of urgent importance," Miller said, reaching the speaking floor. A matter that takes precedence over any territorial disputes. Cathel's skin now pulsed red with anger. This is highly irregular, Ambassador Miller. You are out of order. No, Council Leader. It is the Council that is out of order. Miller's voice was calm but firm as she activated a small device in her hand. Holographic displays appeared around the chamber, showing documents, research findings, and surveillance footage. What you see before you is evidence that members of this council have actively worked to undermine Earth's development. You have sabotaged our research, restricted our growth, and taxed our people unfairly. Gasps and angry shouts erupted throughout the chamber. Some delegates looked genuinely shocked, while others, notably the Valerians and Zolaxians, showed signs of guilt or fury at being exposed. For 78 years, we have tried to be good members of this council, Miller continued. We have contributed our unique perspectives, our resources, and our blood when called upon for collective defense. In return, we have been treated as inferiors, as potential threats to be contained rather than equals to be respected. Cathel slammed his ceremonial staff against the floor. These are serious accusations, Ambassador, and they will be investigated through proper channels. However, this disruption— We are not requesting an investigation, Miller interrupted, pulling a sealed document from her jacket. I come before you today with instruction from the unified governments of Earth. The chamber grew silent again, as Miller broke the seal and began to read. By unanimous vote of the Earth Alliance Parliament effective immediately, Earth hereby withdraws from the Galactic Council and rescinds all treaties, trade agreements, and mutual defense pacts associated with Council membership. The silence shattered as dozens of delegates began shouting at once. Cathel's skin flashed between red and white so rapidly it appeared to strobe. You cannot simply withdraw, he shouted. There are procedures, requirements, which apply to member worlds, Miller said calmly. As of this moment, Earth is no longer a member. We do not recognize the Council's authority over our planet, our colonies, or our future. A delegate from the Arcturian Federation stood. This is unprecedented. No species has ever left the Council voluntarily. Perhaps that is why the Council has grown complacent and corrupt, Miller replied. When membership is seen as irreversible, accountability becomes optional. Carter watched as chaos spread through the chamber. Some species were clearly alarmed, others calculating how they might benefit from this upheaval. A few, the smaller, newer members, looked at the Earth delegation with something close to admiration. Cathel finally managed to restore some semblance of order. His skin had settled into a deep, ominous purple. Ambassador Miller, Admiral Carter, you would do well to reconsider this rash action. The galaxy is a dangerous place for isolated worlds. The Council provides protection, stability. The Council provides these things selectively, Carter said, speaking for the first time. Earth will protect itself, as we always have. Miller placed the document on the central platform, where it would be recorded in the Council archives. Our decision is made. Earth stands alone from this day forward. As they turned to leave, Cathel called after them. You have no idea what you've done. There are threats beyond your understanding, dangers the Council has shielded you from. Without us, you are vulnerable. Carter paused and looked back. Perhaps, or perhaps without your restrictions, we will finally reach our full potential. Either way, it is our choice to make. Outside the chamber, as they boarded their ship, Miller finally let her composed facade crack slightly. That went about as well as expected. Carter nodded, watching through the viewport as Council ships began to move, forming a loose perimeter around the Starbound. They won't try to stop us here. Too many witnesses, but this is just the beginning. As the Starbound pulled away from the Council station, Carter received an encrypted message on his personal device. It was from Dr. Lisa Howard, Earth's leading xenobiologist. Admiral, the message read, you need to see this immediately. We've intercepted a transmission from Andromeda. It was meant only for Council leadership. Whatever they've been hiding, from us it's bigger than we imagined. Carter closed the message and looked back at the council station, shrinking in the distance. Earth was on its own now, and perhaps that was exactly where it needed to be. 3 months after Earth's dramatic exit from the Galactic Council, Captain Alex Porter stood on the bridge of the starship Nova Dawn and watched the stars streak by at speeds that would have been impossible under council restrictions. "How's she holding up? Natalie?" he asked his chief engineer. Natalie Chen looked up from her console with a grin that hadn't faded since they'd removed the council's technology limiters from the ship's warp drive. 300% efficiency, Captain. We'll reach the Epsilon colony in half the time it would have taken before." Porter nodded with satisfaction. The Nova Dawn had been a decent ship under council regulations. Now it was exceptional. The same could be said for much of Earth's technology since breaking away. "Any sign of council patrols?" he asked his tactical officer. "Nothing, sir," replied Lieutenant Ben Ward. "Space is clear all the way to Epsilon." This was both good and concerning. In the weeks after Earth's withdrawal, council ships had maintained a heavy presence near human territories, supposedly for observation. But over the past month, those patrols had dwindled and then disappeared entirely. Intelligence suggested the council had bigger problems than watching humans. Porter's communication panel beeped. "Captain, incoming transmission from Earth Command," announced the communications officer. "Put it through to my ready room," Porter ordered, stepping away from the bridge. Inside his small office, the screen lit up with the face of NASA Director Samantha Wright. Her expression was serious. "Captain Porter, your new mission parameters are being transmitted now. Epsilon Colony is no longer your destination." Porter frowned. "What's happened?" "We've received distress signals from Proxima colonies. They're under embargo by council forces and running critically low on medical supplies. As our closest allies since the withdrawal, they need our help." "The council is blockading Proxima?" Porter asked in disbelief. "They're not even human colonies." "No, but they publicly supported our decision to leave. The council is making an example of them," Wright explained. "Commander Ryan Peterson is leading a humanitarian mission and the Nova Dawn is being redirected to provide escort." Porter nodded. "We'll change course immediately." "One more thing, Captain," Wright added. "Your ship may attract attention. The Zalaxians have been testing our borders looking for weaknesses. Be careful." The screen went dark, and Porter returned to the bridge with the new orders. "Change of plans," he announced to his crew. "We're heading to Proxima, and we might have company when we get there." In her lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lisa Howard studied the partial decode of the mysterious Andromedan transmission. The message had been encrypted using quantum algorithms that would take Earth's best computers months to fully crack, but fragments were becoming clear. She read the latest section aloud. "Containment protocols failing in sectors 7 through 13. Council leadership advised to increase military presence. Threat level now at maximum." Her assistant, a young physicist named Dr. Daniel Garcia, looked up from his own work. "Containment of what? What are they hiding out there?" "I don't know," Howard admitted. "But whatever it is, the Council kept it from Earth for decades. And now we're on our own." Garcia finished her thought. Howard nodded grimly. "The question is whether leaving the Council made us more vulnerable or gave us a fighting chance." Garcia's console suddenly lit up with alerts. "Dr. Howard, look at this." On his screen, equations and diagrams flashed by rapidly as their quantum simulation completed its run. Garcia had been working on theoretical shield technology, freed from Council restrictions that had limited Earth's defensive capabilities. "The simulation works," he said, his voice filled with excitement and disbelief. "Without the Council's restrictions on quantum field manipulation, I've managed to create a shield matrix that would render most conventional weapons useless." Howard stared at the results. "How soon can we build a prototype?" "Weeks, not months," Garcia replied. "And if it works, Earth just became a lot safer," Howard finished, though her eyes drifted back to the partially decoded message. "Let's just hope it's enough." On the council homeworld of Valara, Ambassador Cathel faced the inner circle, the 7 most powerful members who truly governed the galaxy. Their meeting chamber was dark, lit only by bioluminescent orbs that cast eerie shadows. The humans continue to develop technologies at an alarming rate, Cathel reported. Without our regulators, they've already enhanced their warp capabilities and weapon systems. High Elder Zoran, the oldest living Valarian, leaned forward. As we feared, their potential has always been concerning. More concerning is the effect their departure has had on other members, said Councillor Jax of the Zolaxian Empire. The Proxima system has openly declared support for Earth. The Sirius Coalition is questioning our leadership. 3 other systems have formally requested review of their membership terms. The humans have started a chain reaction, Cathel said, one that threatens the stability we've maintained for millennia. And what of the Void Collective? Asked another elder. Our latest reports suggest containment is failing in multiple sectors. The room fell silent. For centuries, the Council had fought a secret war against the Void Collective, a hive-mind species that consumed all in its path. Council worlds contributed resources and troops to maintain a defensive perimeter in the outer reaches of the galaxy, resources that would now be diminished without Earth's contributions. We should tell the humans, suggested a younger counselor. Warn them of what's coming. And admit we concealed such a threat? Jax scoffed. No, let them discover the consequences of their independence. Cathel's skin pulsed with concern. If the void breaks through, it won't just be humans who suffer. Then we must ensure our own survival first, Zoran declared. Increase patrols along the containment zone. Redirect resources from non-essential systems. And the humans? Cathel asked. Zoran's ancient eyes narrowed. Let them enjoy their freedom, while it lasts. In Earth's Orbital Defense Headquarters, Admiral Mary Jackson reviewed the latest intelligence reports. Her office window provided a view of the new defense platforms being constructed around the planet, another technology that had previously been restricted by Council regulations. A knock at her door interrupted her work. Enter, she called. General, Frank Nichols stepped inside, holding a data tablet. We've intercepted Council communications, Admiral. Heavily encrypted, but our analysts are getting better at breaking their codes. What have we learned? Jackson asked. They're pulling ships back from their borders, redirecting them to something called the containment zone in the outer sectors. And there's increased chatter about something called the Void Collective. Jackson frowned. The what? We don't know, Nichols admitted. But whatever it is, it has the Council spooked. Jackson looked out at Earth below, peaceful and blue. 3 months of independence had brought technological breakthroughs, new alliances, and a sense of freedom humanity hadn't known since joining the galactic community. But she couldn't shake the feeling that they had yet to discover the full truth about why the Council had kept them under such tight control. Contact Dr. Howard, she ordered. Tell her to prioritize decoding anything related to this Void Collective, and put our long-range scout ships on alert status. As Nichols left to carry out her orders, Jackson returned her gaze to the stars. Out there, something was stirring, something the Council had been fighting in secret while using Earth's resources to do it. And now, humanity would have to face it alone. Or perhaps, she thought with grim determination, the galaxy would discover what humans could really do when no one was holding them back. 1 year after Earth's departure from the Galactic Council, Commander Ryan Peterson stood on the observation deck of the newly built space station Unity. The massive structure orbited at Earth's L5 point and served as headquarters for the Free Systems Alliance, a coalition of worlds that had either left the Council or had never joined in the first place. Below him, representatives from 12 different species gathered for the Alliance's quarterly meeting. Some were former Council members who had followed Earth's example. Others were civilizations the Council had deemed too primitive for membership, but who now found respect and fair treatment with humanity. Quite a sight, isn't it? Said a voice behind him. Peterson turned to see Admiral John Carter approaching. The Admiral looked tired but satisfied. A year ago, I wouldn't have believed this was possible, Peterson admitted. The Council always told us we needed them for stability and protection. Carter nodded. They told us a lot of things, most of them lies. A holographic display activated in the center of the chamber below, showing the latest intelligence about Council activities. The image showed Council territory shrinking as more systems declared independence or neutrality. The Valerians and Zolaxians are openly competing for leadership now, Peterson observed. 3 border skirmishes in the past month alone. Without Earth as a common problem to unite against, their old rivalries are resurfacing, Carter said. For centuries they used us and other younger species as buffers between their territories. Now those buffers are gone. An aide approached and handed Carter a datapad. The Admiral's expression darkened as he read. "What is it?" Peterson asked. "The humanitarian mission to Proxima. The Council has declared it an act of illegal interference and demanded we withdraw our ships." Peterson frowned. "We're delivering medical supplies to civilians. The Council doesn't care. They want to make an example of anyone who sides with Earth." Carter handed back the datapad. "Prepare your ship. You're going back to Proxima with a larger escort this time." "Are we expecting trouble?" Carter's eyes were hard. Always. In her laboratory, Dr. Lisa Howard stared at the fully decoded Andromedan message with growing horror. After a year of work, Earth's quantum computers had finally broken through the encryption. "This can't be right," she whispered. Dr. Daniel Garcia looked over her shoulder, his face paling as he read. "The Void Collective. They've broken through in 3 sectors already." The message detailed how a hostile hive mind species had been contained by Council forces for centuries. The Andromedans, observers from a neighboring galaxy, had been monitoring the situation and now warned that the containment was failing. "The Council never told us about this threat," Howard said. "They used our resources, our people to fight this war, without ever telling us what we were fighting for." Garcia pointed to another section of the message. "Look at this part about human DNA. The Andromedans believe there's something in our genetic makeup that makes us resistant to the Void Collective's mind control abilities." Howard sat back, stunned by the implication. "Is that why the Council kept us under such tight control? They were afraid of our potential?" Before Garcia could answer, an alert sounded. The lab's secure communication channel was activating. A direct line from Admiral Mary Jackson. Howard accepted the call. Jackson's face appeared on screen, her expression grim. "Doctor, we've just received reports from our long-range scouts. 3 Council worlds in the outer sectors have gone dark. No communications, no transport ships, nothing." Howard felt cold dread settle in her stomach. "The Void Collective has broken through, hasn't it?" Jackson's eyes widened slightly. "You know about them?" "We've finally decoded the Andromedan message. Admiral, the situation is worse than we thought." On the bridge of the Nova Dawn, Captain Alex Porter received the encrypted transmission from Earth Command. His orders were changing again. "Set course for Earth, maximum speed," he told his crew. "We're being recalled for an emergency briefing." Natalie Chen looked up from her engineering station. "Everything okay, Captain?" Porter hesitated. The message had included only the barest details, but it was enough to send a chill down his spine. "I don't think so, Natalie, not this time." As the ship changed course, Lieutenant Ben Ward at the tactical station suddenly straightened. "Captain, I'm picking up an unidentified vessel at extreme sensor range." "Council ship?" Ward shook his head, looking confused. "I don't think so. The design doesn't match anything in our database, and it's huge, sir. At least 5 times the size of a Council dreadnought." Porter felt a sense of foreboding. "Put it on screen." The main view screen activated, showing a distant object moving against the star field. It was massive and dark, seeming to absorb the light around it rather than reflect it. Its surface appeared to ripple and shift, as if it weren't completely solid. "What the hell is that?" whispered Chen. Before Porter could respond, the ship's communication system activated on its own. A strange, multi-toned voice filled the bridge. "We are the Void. Resistance has failed. You will be absorbed." In a distant sector of space, a small scout vessel bearing the emblem of the Sentinel species observed the unfolding chaos. The Sentinels were one of the oldest civilizations in the galaxy, but they rarely interfered in galactic politics, preferring to watch and record. Today, however, they had broken their silence. The ship's captain, Sentinel Observer Zell, transmitted a message directly to Earth, bypassing the Council communications network entirely. "People of Earth," the message began, "for millennia, we have watched the Council maintain what they called order. We have witnessed their deception and manipulation of younger species, especially yours. We remained neutral, as is our way. But now we can no longer stay silent. The threat you know as the Void Collective is ancient and implacable. The Council has contained it for centuries, using resources from member worlds without their knowledge. Your departure has accelerated the collapse of their containment strategy, but it was already failing. The Void would have broken through eventually. Perhaps it is better that it happens now, while humanity is free to reach its full potential. Our records indicate your species possesses unique characteristics that may be crucial in the coming conflict. The Council feared these traits and sought to suppress them. We urge you not to make the same mistake. The galaxy stands at a crossroads. The old order is ending. What replaces it may depend on what Earth does next." In the Council chambers, chaos reigned. Reports of void incursions flooded in from multiple sectors. Delegates shouted accusations and demands at each other, their unity shattered. Ambassador Cathell watched with a sense of despair. The carefully maintained order of millennia was collapsing around them, and the humans, whose resources and unique abilities might have helped contain the void, were now beyond the Council's control. "We should have told them the truth," he said quietly to an Arcturian delegate beside him. "Instead of manipulating them, we should have made them true partners." "Perhaps," the Arcturian replied, "but it's too late now." Cathell wasn't so sure. He had been secretly communicating with Earth's leaders, sharing what he knew about the Void Collective. It was treason against the Council, but the stakes were too high for old grudges. "The humans have surprised us before," he said. "They may yet surprise us again." Outside the Council station, a void ship appeared, its massive form blocking the stars. The Valerian guards fled in terror. The old order was ending. And across the galaxy, all eyes turned to Earth, the world that dared to stand alone. The emergency meeting at Earth Defense Headquarters brought together military leaders, scientists, and representatives from the Free Systems Alliance. Admiral Mary Jackson stood before a holographic display showing the latest intelligence on the Void Collective's advance. "3 former Council worlds have gone silent," she reported. "No communications, no distress signals, just nothing." The room was silent as the implications sank in. General Frank Nichols was the first to speak. "What do we know about their capabilities?" Dr. Lisa Howard stepped forward. "The Andromedan message and Ambassador Cathell's information give us some insight. The Void Collective is a hive-mind species that absorbs other life forms into its consciousness. It doesn't just conquer, it consumes." She activated a different display showing biological data. The Council has been fighting them for centuries, containing them in the outer sectors. They used resources from all member worlds, including Earth, to maintain the containment, but never told us what we were fighting. "Why keep it secret?" asked Commander Ryan Peterson. "Because of this," Howard said, highlighting a section of data. According to both the Andromedans and Cathell, human DNA contains unique properties that make us resistant to the Void's mind control. The Council was afraid of what would happen if we knew our true potential. Admiral Jackson nodded grimly. "So, they kept us weak, divided, and ignorant. And now the Void is free," Nichols added. "Just as we broke away from the Council." A communication officer interrupted. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the Nova Dawn. They've had direct contact with a Void vessel." Jackson activated the channel. Captain Alex Porter's face appeared on screen, his expression tense. "We managed to escape using the new warp drive modifications," Porter reported. "But that thing was unlike anything I've ever seen. It seemed to absorb energy from our initial scanner beams." Did you attempt communication? Jackson asked. They contacted us, Porter said. A single message. We are the void. Resistance has failed. You will be absorbed. Then they tried to lock on with some kind of tractor beam. We barely got away. Jackson looked around the room. Opinions? Dr. Howard spoke first. If the reports are accurate, the Void Collective is advancing. On multiple fronts, the Council's containment strategy has completely failed. They'll be fighting for their own survival. So will we all, Nichols pointed out. Jackson turned to the representatives from the Free Systems Alliance. What are your worlds prepared to contribute to this fight? A Proximan delegate stood. Our fleet is small, but it's yours. You helped us when the Council abandoned us. Others voiced similar support, but the room fell silent when Ambassador Cathel's hologram appeared in the center of the room. The Valerian looked exhausted, his skin pulsing with dull colors. The Council chambers have been evacuated, he announced. The Void Collective has breached our defensive perimeter. Our fleets are scattered, our leadership divided. And you're coming to us for help? Nichols asked with undisguised bitterness. After everything your Council did to hold humanity back? Cathel's skin flashed a shade of blue that Howard recognized as deep regret. I cannot undo centuries of misguided policy, but I can tell you that you were right to leave the Council. Our fear of human potential led us to suppress the very qualities that might have prevented this disaster. Jackson stepped forward. What are you proposing, Ambassador? An alliance. Not like the old Council, but a true partnership between equals. Your technology, combined with our knowledge of the Void, might give us a fighting chance. Before Jackson could respond, another alert sounded. The communications officer looked up in surprise. Admiral, we're receiving a direct transmission from Captain Porter's science officer, Dr. Kelly Martinez. She says it's urgent. Dr. Martinez's face appeared on screen. She looked both excited and terrified. Admiral, we've been analyzing the EE data from our encounter with the Void ship. When they attempted to lock onto us with their beam, something unexpected happened. The humans on board were unaffected, but our non-human crew members reported feeling their thoughts being probed. The resistance to mind control, Howard murmured. More than that, Martinez continued. Our ship's doctor ran blood analyses immediately after the encounter. There's something in human blood, a unique protein structure, that actively disrupts the Void's control signals. The room erupted in discussion. Cathel's hologram flickered as he processed this information. This confirms what the ancient record suggested, he said. This is why the Council feared your species' potential. Not just because you were resistant, but because you might be the antidote. Jackson turned to Howard. Can we weaponize this? The scientist considered carefully. Possibly. With Dr. Garcia's quantum shield technology and this new information about human biology, we might be able to create a disruption field that affects the Void Collective's hive mind. How long? Nichols asked. Weeks at minimum, Howard replied. And we'd need to test it. Jackson made her decision. We don't have weeks, the Void is moving too fast. She looked at Cathel. Ambassador, we'll consider your proposal for an alliance, but we make the terms this time. Cathel nodded. I expected nothing less. Dr. Howard, work with Dr. Martinez and Dr. Garcia. I want prototype weapons based on this human resistance factor, as soon as possible. What about the Council worlds already under attack? Peterson asked. Jackson's face hardened. That's the question, isn't it? Do we help the people who kept us down for decades, or do we focus on protecting our own? The room fell silent again. Finally, Admiral John Carter spoke from where he had been quietly observing. We help them, he said simply. Not because they deserve it, but because that's who we are. Humans don't abandon others to face extinction, even those who wronged us. Jackson nodded slowly. Agreed. Commander Peterson, prepare a rescue fleet. Captain Porter, continue your analysis of the Void ship's weaknesses. General Nichols, put our defense grid on full alert. As the meeting dispersed into urgent action, Jackson pulled Howard aside. Do you really think we can win this? Howard thought about everything they had learned since leaving the Council, the rapid technological advancement, The biological discoveries, the new alliances formed without Council interference. A year ago I would have said no, she admitted. But now? Now I think we were held back for so long that even we don't know what we're capable of. Outside the headquarters, the skies above Earth were filled with ships from a dozen worlds. Former enemies and new allies joining together as news of the void spread. The Free Systems Alliance, born from Earth's act of independence, was about to face its first true test. And across the galaxy, the Void Collective continued its inexorable advance, consuming world after world. Its hive mind sensed the humans' activities with growing concern. For the first time in its ancient existence, the Void encountered something it could not simply absorb. It sensed resistance. 2 years after Earth left the Galactic Council, Admiral John Carter stood on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's newest and most powerful warship. Through the viewscreen, he watched as hundreds of vessels gathered near Alpha Centauri, the largest fleet ever assembled in the galaxy's history. The ships came from dozens of worlds. Former council members fought alongside those who had never been deemed worthy of membership. The Free Systems Alliance had grown from 12 worlds to over 40 in the past year as the Void Collective's threat became undeniable. Carter's communication officer looked up. "Admiral, all fleet commanders report ready." Carter nodded. "Open a channel to all ships." When the channel was active, Carter spoke clearly and firmly. "This is Admiral Carter. In a few hours, we will engage the main force of the Void Collective. Our intelligence suggests they have gathered nearly 80% of their ships for this push toward the core systems. 2 years ago, Earth stood alone when we left the Council. Today, we stand together with allies from across the galaxy. Today we fight not just for our own survival, but for the right of all species to exist free from both the Council's control and the Void's consumption. Each of your ships has been equipped with the quantum disruption technology developed by our scientists. Use it wisely. Aim for their command ships first. Remember your training. Trust your allies. And know that whatever happens today, you are making history." Carter out. As the channel closed, Admiral Mary Jackson approached from the tactical station. "The Void ships are advancing. Time to impact. 30 minutes. Carter nodded. "Deploy the fleet according to plan. And get me Captain Porter." On a secondary screen, Alex Porter's face appeared. He now commanded a special strike force assembled for a crucial mission. "We're in position, Admiral," Porter reported. "Dr. Martinez and her team are ready." "Good. Wait for our signal. When the main fleet engages the Void, their attention will be divided. That's when you make your run for their command hub." Porter nodded gravely. "We won't let you down, sir." As the communication ended, Jackson asked quietly, "Do you think this will work?" Carter watched the approaching Void ships on the tactical display. They moved like a single organism, their dark hulls seeming to absorb the starlight around them. "As to," he replied simply. Aboard the strike force vessel Nova Dawn, Captain Alex Porter reviewed the mission plan one final time with his crew. "Once the main battle begins, we'll have a narrow window to reach the Void command hub," he explained. "Dr. Martinez's team will deploy the bioweapon while we provide cover." Dr. Kelly Martinez stood at the science station, monitoring the special cargo they carried. Containers of synthesized human proteins engineered to disrupt the Void's hive mind on a massive scale. "Remember," she said, "this isn't just about killing the Void. Our goal is to break the connection between their ships. Without the hive mind coordinating them, they'll be vulnerable to conventional attacks." Lieutenant Natalie Chen looked up from her engineering console. "What about the Council ships? Can we trust them to keep the Void occupied long enough?" Porter nodded. "Ambassador Cathell has assured us the Council fleet will draw their fire. And believe it or not, I think he's genuinely committed to this alliance now." Lieutenant Ben Ward at Tactical suddenly straightened. "Captain, the Void fleet is engaging. The battle has begun." Porter took his command chair. "Battle stations, stealth systems active. Set course for the command hub. It's time to show the galaxy what humans can really do." In the heart of the battle, Admiral Carter watched as the combined fleet engaged the Void ships. Quantum disruption beams lanced out from Alliance vessels, temporarily severing the connections between void ships. Conventional weapons followed, targeting the momentarily confused enemy. But the void adapted quickly. Their massive ships began to emit countermeasures, attempting to block the disruption beams. "They're learning," Jackson observed. "The disruption effect isn't lasting as long." Carter nodded grimly. "That's why Porter's mission is so crucial. Status of the strike team? They've penetrated the outer defenses," the tactical officer reported. "Approaching the command hub now." On the main view screen, the battle unfolded in flashes of energy and silent explosions. Council ships fought alongside Earth vessels, former enemies now united against a common threat. Nearby, Ambassador Cathell commanded a Valerian battlecruiser. His ship took heavy damage protecting an Earth carrier from void attackers. "The Council was wrong about humans," Cathell transmitted to Carter. "We feared your potential. Now we depend on it." Aboard the Nova Dawn, Porter guided his ship through the chaos of battle toward the massive structure at the center of the Void Fleet. Unlike the other ships, this one pulsed with eerie blue light and seemed more organic than mechanical. "That's it," Martinez confirmed. "The biological readings are off the charts. That's their central hive mind." The ship rocked as a void attack grazed their shields. Ward reported, "Shields at 60%. We can't take many more hits like that." "We won't have to," Porter replied. "Prepare to deploy the bioweapon." Martinez's team moved to the launch bay, where specialized missiles containing the engineered human proteins waited. As they loaded the weapons, the scientist felt a strange sensation in her mind, a whisper trying to penetrate her thoughts. "They know we're here," she warned. "They're trying to connect to our minds." Porter felt it too, a cold presence pushing against his consciousness. "Everyone, focus on the mission. Our natural resistance will protect us long enough." "Weapons ready," Ward announced. "Fire." On the Defiance, Carter watched as the strike team's missiles streaked toward the Void command hub. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the massive structure began to pulse erratically. The blue light flickered and dimmed. Across the battlefield, Void ships suddenly lost cohesion, their movements becoming erratic and uncoordinated. "It's working," Jackson whispered. Carter didn't hesitate. "All ships concentrate fire on disabled Void vessels. Don't give them time to recover." The combined fleet surged forward, weapons blazing. Without the hive mind's coordination, the Void ships were vulnerable. One by one, they fell to the Alliance attack. On the communications channel, cheers erupted from dozens of worlds as the tide of battle turned. 1 month later, Admiral Carter stood in the newly constructed Galactic Federation chambers on Earth. Representatives from over 60 worlds had gathered to sign the founding charter of a new interstellar alliance, one based on equality, mutual respect, and shared responsibility. Ambassador Cathell, now representing a drastically reformed Valerian government, approached Carter after the ceremony. "Your scientists tell me the Void Collective has been driven back to the outer sectors," he said. Carter nodded. "We've established monitoring stations. If they try to return, we'll be ready." "And the old council?" "Dissolved as agreed. The new federation will be different. No species above others, no secrets, no suppression of knowledge." Cathell's skin pulsed with colors Carter had learned to recognize as regret mixed with hope. "We feared what humanity might become if unleashed," the Valerian admitted. "We never considered what the galaxy could achieve with humanity as true partners." From a nearby window, Earth was visible, a blue jewel in space. Around it orbited ships from dozens of worlds, no longer divided by council politics, but united by common purpose. Just 2 years earlier, humanity had stood alone, defying the council's authority and restrictions. That act of independence had triggered chaos throughout the galaxy, exposing hidden threats and ancient lies. But from that chaos, something new had emerged, a galaxy where humanity's potential wasn't feared but celebrated, where differences between species were seen as strengths rather than threats, where ancient enemies fought side by side against common dangers. As Carter watched ships departing for distant stars, he thought about the message that had started it all. the Andromedan warning that humanity had special properties the Council had feared. The Andromedans had been right, but not in the way anyone expected. It wasn't just human biology that made the difference in the fight against the void. It was human determination, human courage, human willingness to help even those who had once been enemies. "We have a saying on Earth," Carter told Cathell. "Sometimes you have to break something to fix it properly." The Valerian considered this. "By leaving the Council, you broke the old order." "And together," Carter replied, looking out at the stars, "we're building something better." Far beyond the edges of known space, the Sentinel observer ship recorded everything that had happened. The ancient species that had watched galactic events unfold for millennia updated their archives with a new entry. The era of the Council has ended. The age of the Federation has begun, and at its center stands Earth, a world that dared to stand alone, only to discover that in doing so, it could unite the galaxy as never before.